Hi Zach, how's it going, mate? So this is my feedback video for your track Sonar. So I checked in the RX audio straight off the bat. Straight at the beginning here, if you could just add 2 seconds of silence to the beginning of the track, because at the moment it starts bang on. So yeah, 2 seconds of silence just at the beginning, because you want to have at least sort of like, I think it's I usually go for 0.03 milliseconds of silence at the beginning. Otherwise, when you upload it to platforms like SoundCloud, for example, you get like clipping at the beginning. But just stick 2 seconds of silence on the end there, and then we're all good. Looking at here, your integrated loudness, true peak's okay. I mean, I can bring that down. It's generally what I do anyway. I kind of like clip gain it to about 60, minus 6 dB, and I work from there. So that's all good, no clipping. Your crest factor is pretty good. So you get that from taking the true peak from the integrated loudness. So you're looking at about 14.4, which is pretty good. Your loudness range is quite high, but that's because you've got these. I say high; it's kind of low. Like in EDM, you sometimes you're looking at like figures of like 3.4, 3 to 4 rather, not 3.4, 3 to 4. But you've got some quieter sections, hence why this loudness range is quite high. As you can see, just looking at the waveform, it kind of like it builds, doesn't it? The composition builds as you go throughout. So I'll just talk through each section in RX audio, then we'll go through and check it to repo and have a listen. So the mastering stage, what I'll be inclined to do there is possibly use some clip gain and just boost that by like 0.5 dB or a dB, just so when it goes into the next section, it's not such a disparity in terms of macro dynamics, and macro dynamics being the difference in loudness between sections. Nice delay. Yeah, so there I would have this. So you don't really need to do anything with the mix, but the master, I would just have this like clip gained and then boost it by like 0.5 dB, maybe even a dB, just so when it comes into this next section, you still got the impact, but there's not such a disparity between the macro dynamics. Got your kick there. I would be inclined. I don't know if you've got any sidechain compression, or just check where your fundamental frequency of your kick is. We'll have a look in Reaper in a minute, so we can find out where it is. It's probably going to be around 60 hertz or something. And then just make sure you carve out a bit of space in your kick drum, in the bass for that to come through. So at the moment, it's not getting lost, but you could come through a bit better if you were to do that. You can use things like, I don't use it myself, like track spacers one. Or you could use something like, if you've got Slate Digital, they've got the New Horizon plugin, which is really cool, actually. It's like you can treat it almost like a resonance suppressor. And then you could sidechain your kick to the bass and then just duck out frequencies in the bass for it to pop through. There's multiple ways you can do it. Anything I say in this video, by the way, is all like my interpretation. And we're talking more mix and creativity and like creative decisions. So you can take it all with a pinch of salt, basically, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying you have to make any of these changes. It's just observations. Again, mixing decision. The vocal sample's quite low in the mix there, but I appreciate if it's a creative choice, then that's cool. That's the only thing I would say there. There's quite like you got this the vocal's quite low and those synths are quite high. Is that synth sidechain? Is the kick sidechain to the synth there to create the pumping? I can hear it kind of increases, doesn't it? Like if you've got that set to a rate, or you've got like a free where you can just set it to a value rather than a rate. Sounds quite cool. See the vocal there, the vocal sample sounds a lot louder there than it does in this section here at like 50 seconds. It could be that you've used less reverb, and it might, because when you're obviously using more reverb, it's going to push the vocal back, or the sound back in terms of the stage, if you will. When you've got multiple instruments and sounds happening at the same time, just in particular the low mid region, so like 200 to 500 hertz around there, just check what audio you've got going on. I'm not saying high pass everything, because you don't just high pass things for the sake of it, but just play around with moving maybe a low shelf or even a high pass. In theory, you could, in theory, when you've got multiple instruments in that realm. Otherwise, it can get a bit cluttered. Because as this builds, you've got more and more energy down there. At the moment, I'll check on the oscilloscope in Reaper in a minute, but it sounds like there's quite a lot going down the middle, but we'll check that in a minute. That kick drum's so cool. It's almost got like a metal. I come from a metal background, so it's kind of it's got that galloping feel to it. It's really cool. It's like Iron Maiden-y. See here, again, there's quite a lot down the middle. You've got the clicking, and you've got the kick drum, and you've got the synth down the middle. So you could play around with maybe just moving them slightly to the left or to the right, maybe an instrument. Again, it's a creative choice. So I appreciate if it's not what you're going for. So you've got the vocal samples coming in here as well. So you could almost like automate instruments. You could, up until where we are now, 2 minutes 40, you could have them down the middle. And then when you get those, when that vocal comes in, you could maybe like automate and move things to the left and to the right just to create some space down the middle for the vocal sample. Cool. Maybe add a couple seconds of silence to the end of the track as well. Basically top and tail it with 2 seconds each time. All right, so let's dive into Reaper and have a listen and a look as well. Okay, we are in Reaper. So this is why I use Reaper for mastering. So let's have a look, see, and what we have in here. So let's get my... I like to use Isotope Insight. You can use any sort of metering program for this, but I find Insight's got some really good features in here, particularly the loudness and the spectrum as well. So let's have a look. So also keep an eye on the phase correlation. Looking all right so far, though. was off. I think your kicks surround. It's around 40 hertz, isn't it? So look at the bass and just make sure you're creating space for the fundamental of that kick to come through there. Your phase correlation looks all right. It's not dipping below -0. If it does occasionally, it's fine. But obviously, if it did a lot, then obviously we've got some phase correlation issues. But it's looking fine. What we're also looking at here is keep an eye on the momentary LUFS and your RMS. You want them to be within like 2 dB of each other. If this is lower, a lot lower than the RMS, then you might have too much sort of low energy, basically. But I think you're okay. Maybe a touch too hot with the kick drum. Potentially. Again, it's a creative choice. There's no reason why you can't do it. But what that could then impact is the overall perceived loudness. So if this number is more than sort of 2 dB compared to the RMS, it might impact the overall, basically the perceived loudness of it. So root mean squared. So you can think of LUFS, loudness units full scale, is how we hear sound. So it's not a linear sort of straight line. It kind of curves to mimic how we hear sound, whereas RMS is literally just, it's root mean squared. It's the root mean squared of the audio at that particular moment in time. I'll link an interesting video where Jonathan Weiner probably explains it better than I do with regards to this here, and I'll give you the timestamp as well. But we'll keep an eye on it. Yeah, kind of like 4. That might indicate, doesn't necessarily mean the kick is the problem. It could be that you just got a lot of information down there. So just look at what's playing in that particular part. So you could just get like an EQ. Like I've got the Infinity EQ, but you can use any EQ. You could use, like if you're using a free one, a really nice free one is Kotelnikov Nova. Oh yeah, all plugins. Here we are. Nova, TDR Nova. It's a nice EQ. So you could just do it like a low pass, like that. That sounds pretty. It sounds like you just got kick and bass down there, to be honest. But you can hear how powerful that kick is in comparison to the bass. So you could potential there that you could maybe bring the bass down, the kick drum down, maybe a dB, 0.5 dB. You can hear as the crescendo builds, more information is just building in this particular sort of like, if I move up to about 300 hertz, 350. So you can hear how it could quickly get quite cluttered down there. What I'm not saying is like just do that to everything. Certainly don't do that. But you could stick maybe a shelf, something like that, on particular instruments where they're not as integral to that. A good thing you could do is you could just mute the track and then bring it back in, and then just play around with that there with a low shelf, for example. Maybe to get rid of some of that clutteredness. But again, minor things really. I will say that click sounds like it might be a touch loud, but again, creative choices. And I'd also say I was going to check the oscilloscope. So I'm just going to play it from here. Maybe you could look at your panning of maybe the synths there, move some bits around. It's not too bad, but I think when you get to here, you can see there's quite a lot down the middle there. You might want to consider just moving some things left and right. Loads of energy down there. All that's happening at the same time. It's quite a lot. Not saying take anything out, but just maybe look at it's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle and you're carving space for different bits and pieces in there. Can you see there? Like if you look at the momentary and the RMS, they're pretty close. Significantly closer. I mean, you can see that's a lot lower there, but it is predominantly kick and bass there, so you can kind of forgive. Cool, mate. So nothing inherently stands out, really. Everything I've mentioned are minor things. And I always do this because from being an artist myself and a producer, a lot of the stuff I do to other ears might seem, well, that's not conventional, but it's like creative choice, isn't it? It's your artistic vision. So just, I'm not saying go in and make all the changes or anything that I've mentioned, just things to consider. It might not be even something you do in this particular project. It might be something that you do in the next project and just be aware of. But let me know your thoughts. If anything doesn't make sense, ping me a message or we can jump on a call and we can go through it. I use Sonar, so we could even go through the project together and chat about it if you want to. Otherwise, if you're happy to proceed with the master as it is, more than happy to do that, and we can get that done at some point over the next few days. But either way, let me know, mate. Again, any clarity or anything, just give me a shout. And just want to stress again, this is all my interpretation and it's subjective as well with these feedback videos. It's just what I hear and just things to consider. Like I said, you don't have to take any action on it. But there we go. I'm waffling now, as I always do. Enjoy the rest of your day, whatever time of day it is that you watch this. And again, reach out if you've got any questions. Cheers, buddy.